So, Gary, explain this to me because I need to understand what's happening. All right. I feel like we're in a simulation because I watched a ball go right of the foul pole over the wall, which since I was 4, I can remember that being a home run. And today it wasn't. And then what is really kind of puzzling to me, so I'm going to need your help on this.
Yep.
Not only was that not a home run, they then reviewed it, and they had people in a control center say it wasn't a home run. That is the first thing I have to say. There was a lot of things about today. It's why I put it in the thumbnail, the Tampa screw job. Dude, what on earth happened today? Today was an absolute... I mean, we almost saw a no-hitter. So first off, we got to give that credit. But, I mean, Trent Gisham leading off, bro, we were in bizarro land today. It was a simulation and a half.
Yeah, and I actually loved, by the way, side note here before we get started. And if you guys haven't yet, make sure if you're new to this show, make sure you like and subscribe to this video. We appreciate it. Any and all super chats will be read on this show. But Trent Gisham actually leading off today I thought was great, okay? I'm just going to say it. You play the hot hand, and that's the hot hand. It sounds funny. It sounds ridiculous. My mom, my grandma, none of them are huge fans of Trent Gisham in his days of San Diego. But who he is in 2025 is a great player in the short term. So we'll take it. Now, to digress here, the tree that the baseball landed in off the bat of Aaron Judge is standing in fair territory, okay? So if you watch it on camera, now it seems like a difficult call trying to figure out, okay, is it left of the foul pole? Is it right of the foul pole? Is it higher than the foul pole that makes it hard to actually figure out whether or not it was fair? Watching it on TV, in hindsight, it was like one of the easiest calls I've actually seen. It's not even remotely difficult. Now, in real time, I can see how maybe you lost concentration. Maybe you were looking at the wrong thing. You had a bad frame of reference. I don't know, okay? But people underrate the difficulty of getting the call right on the field. That I don't have a problem with, okay? I do not mind bad calls on the field. Where I have a problem is when we now go to replay and people are literally hired, they're employed in this world to do one job. They're like, hey, Gary, hey, Jake, your one job this weekend for Easter is going to be to turn and watch replays of baseball all day. And you're actually going to be an umpire. So you know the rules of the game. You know how it goes. You're going to watch this ball. Now tell me what you saw. And then to decide after replay that that was a foul ball was ridiculous. And I feel, Jake, we have more real leash to complain about this call. We won 4-0. Okay. Game wasn't close. We're technically supposed to be happy, and we are, right? Overall, we're thrilled. But I will say, this didn't impact the outcome of the game, and that's a good thing. But man, how is Major League Baseball in 2025 with all this technology that we have at our disposal? We're playing games in minor league field, right? So we understand the concept. There was a hurricane. That's why we're playing here. But that's not an excuse at all for them to have missed this call the way they missed it. It was pathetic.
It really was. And, you know, I think also I kept seeing on, and obviously this isn't going to surprise you, but I kept seeing on Twitter, you know, we're talking about this. We're annoyed for Judge. We're annoyed because we like stats. We're annoyed because this is 8 home runs on the season that he doesn't get. But there were people on Twitter complaining because they bet on Aaron Judge to hit a home run. And they're like, what the hell happened?
That'd be my luck.
Yeah. So how do you, it's just funny to me. Like my dad and I were having this conversation earlier today, and he's like, I honestly think they should just give Aaron Judge the home run and just admit that they were wrong. It doesn't change the outcome of the game. And
you see what Judge said?
Well, yeah. You have Aaron Judge, who's normally very diplomatic. He's very calm and everything. He still was, but he was like, nah, they got it wrong. And he never throws the officiating under the bus. But
he doesn't give us anything. Yeah. I mean, Devin Williams can blow 2 4-run leads, and he's still, and we get it. It's a little different. Yeah. But he'll just show up and be like, oh, yeah, he's the closer. He's the man. He's the best pitcher we got in the bullpen. He'll literally say exactly what you're technically supposed to say, to your point. Absolutely. Diplomatic. And he showed up and said, and I quote, it was a fair ball. It's just tough in a situation like this in a minor league park where the foul poles aren't that high. A point I sort of mentioned earlier. They missed it. We've just got to move on. So, yeah, that call was butt cheeks. and they didn't fix it despite having cameras everywhere. Okay, so he's mentioning the foul poles. He's trying to give them the benefit of the doubt as to why they potentially missed it, but he's not yielding at all that they missed it. This call was a monstrosity. It was garbage.
It's funny. Right after we were just having a little talk about wrestling, he brings up the Montreal screw job. I don't know if you know about that, but Bret Hart got screwed in Montreal in front of his home crowd. So that was the reference to the Tampa screw job. That I was referencing that.
I see. No, I did not catch that. No.
So I like that Alex caught that. It is WrestleMania today, although I didn't know until I looked at my Twitter feed, and now it's just all wrestling stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, point being, though, that was egregiously bad. Like, somebody should be fined. That was that bad. Also,
they never are.
No, they aren't. But, a player will get fined for texting, during a game or whatever and stuff like that. I don't see any difference. I think they're both absolutely wrong, and I think you should be fined for poor performance. And I think
I agree.
With how much money is riding on this stuff, you got, people going to the games, and people go to watch Aaron Judge hit home runs, and no one coming from that game is going to be like, wow, I'm so glad I saw Aaron Judge hit a home run that was actually a foul ball and will never go in the record books as a home run. That was really cool. At least I can pretend that they counted it as a home run. No one is saying that right now. And also, it's bad for baseball. I'm sorry, he's your best player in the league right now. Simply put,
what was the guy's name again?
Best in the league.
We ended up, instead of talking about Aaron Judge, to your point, we ended up talking about Bill Matthews, right? Michael Kay brought up the fact that we're talking about calls being changed down some random guy that we have no idea who he is. And obviously this is with all due respect.
So let's get into it.
Come on. Let's talk about it. Go ahead.
Max Fried throwing a no-hitter. Actually, he wasn't throwing a no-hitter because they had changed it and he didn't know. Aaron Boone didn't know. No one knew, right? And to me, that communication is beyond ass. I mean, that's just, what even is that? That like
pathetic.
A pitcher's on the mound in his mind thinking he has a no-hitter, which, by the way, this matters because whether Boone would have taken him out or not, I don't know. But it does lead me to believe that, yeah, Boone is going to give a guy with a no-hitter a longer leash than a guy that doesn't have a no-hitter, right?
Correct.
So that, to me, you're screwing with a lot of different things here. Was that a hit? Absolutely. He was going to beat it out. I have no doubt. Now, I understand some people might look at this and say, well, you're saying to literally change history because you know for certain that Judge hit a home run, so why are you, against the idea with Fried? And to that, I would just say, look, he had the no-hitter. That was ruled an error, and it was changed 2 innings later. That's not acceptable. I'm sorry. That is not acceptable. And it's been brought up, by the way, by Aaron Boone. And today I think the levee broke with Aaron Boone. He is understanding. He is aware of how the league works. But one thing I love about Aaron Boone is he's going to fight for his guys tooth and nail. And that's what he did today with Judge, and he did it with Max Fried. And he brought up a really good point. That same play is always ruled a hit at Yankee Stadium. But they did not waste any energy turning that into a hit, in this one. Or that is ruled an error at Yankee Stadium. They didn't waste any energy turning that into a hit. And I agree with him. I do think it's not me complaining because, again, Gary, we're in a kind of an interesting position here. The Yankees won this game and dominated the entire game.
Sure did.
At the same time, I feel like there was kind of some Yankee or anti-Yankee bias in this one. And you know what's really funny to me, Gary? You're going to do that after the Yankees gave this team their home for the year? That's silly to me. That's how I felt. I came away, this is the silliest thing ever, and it felt like an anti-Yankee day where we're taking away a home run that clearly went over the wall and it wasn't even remotely close, and we even reviewed it and didn't give him the home run, and then you're going to take away a hit or take away the error and turn it into a hit when we all know as soon as that push notification goes out by ESPN or Bleacher Report or whoever you follow, everyone has now got their eyes glued on history, potential history with Max Fried throwing a no-hitter. So I don't know, man. They kind of knew what they were doing, and I'm not saying that there's any sort of conspiracy, but it did feel like the Yankees were not necessarily in the good graces of the MLB today.
Yeah, it did not bounce our way at all. And I will say this. My problem had nothing to do, because if I watched this play, I thought it was a hit right off the bat. Okay. We were not, Chandler Simpson, we were not getting him at first base. If you watch Max Fried, if you see where they are and you just freeze frame, it was clear as day that Paul Goldschmidt was going to have to toss the ball to first base. That's what was going to have to happen, okay, in this situation. So you know it's a foot race between the pitcher and the base runner. And if you just watch the replay, Max Fried is not beating Simpson to first, okay? It is clear as day. Doesn't really matter if he bobbles it or not. It probably would have drawn a throw, and that's about it, okay? So I thought right off the bat, okay, that's a hit. My problem, Jake, is what you brought up. It was the timing. How does it take you this long to change your mind about that call? And it makes me believe that 2 innings later, they said, oh, man, it seems like we're gonna be in jeopardy here of a no-hitter, and then they're gonna go backwards and look at this call. So now they went and looked at this call and said, you know what, that probably would have been a hit, whereas we wouldn't have cared before. That's what happened. It almost reminds me of when you watch the NBA and an official will tell you, yes, there's contact, but we waited to see if the player scored or not. And if he didn't score, we're going to call the foul and send you to the free throw line. That's what I felt happen. And my feeling is just make the correct call in the moment. And you know what? If you don't throw a no-hitter because an umpire tried to get it right and he did get it right, so be it. You gave up a hit. I can live with that. But for us to sit here and be like, oh, error on Paul Goldschmidt, and then 3 innings later, they're like, hey, you might make history tonight. And they turn around and say, oh, never mind. We did milk it a little bit there for you in the 4th or 5th. That's stupid. That's absolutely dumb. And I love, and I've always mentioned this, the fact that the Yes broadcast and Michael Kay essentially lit that dude a new one up there.
They should have. It's one of the worst, most egregious things I've ever seen from a scorekeeper, because we've seen stuff changed, and that happens, right? But not normally this. Not normally in a big potential no-hitter. I mean, the last time, like, who can you remember that's had a no-hitter? Domingo Germán is the only one that comes to mind for me recently for the Yankees.
And he had a perfect game, I believe.
Yeah. Domingo Germán in a year that they didn't even make the playoffs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
this isn't a common thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I just think that they realized 2 innings later, oh, Dan, we might have some history here. We got that call wrong. I did kind of look at it. I think we should change it. Let's go ahead and change it.
Dumb.
Okay.
That's so stupid.
It is pretty ridiculous. I don't think I've ever been as frustrated about the correct call, because they absolutely, in the end, they got it right. It's just the timeliness of the call was ridiculous. It made no sense. If they changed it right away, I don't even think it's a conversation. I genuinely don't even think we remember this play 10 minutes later. That's how correct the call would have been. If they were just like, base hit, the broadcast would have said, and the Yes broadcast all would have agreed right at the same time. They'd have said, oh, Simpson, he's one of the fastest players in the American League East. He would have beat that out. We would have moved on.
So this to me is like, you have a quarterback going for the all-time record for consecutive passes completed.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a questionable one that they decided to go with, yeah, he caught it. A diving catch, looked 50-50, maybe leaning towards not catching it in the first quarter. He goes on to throw 18 straight completions, setting himself up to break the record. And then in the third quarter, they're like, yeah, remember that pass that you had in the first quarter? It was actually incomplete. Like, what?
So it begs to question, why can't you just change calls willy-nilly whenever you want? As long as you, in good faith, think you got that call wrong, you technically should be able to change whatever you want. We should technically, as you brought up, be able to just add Aaron Judge a home run. We should be able to go back and change, to your point, Galarraga. Before we went live, we were talking about the Galarraga play. We should just be able to give him a no-hitter. Just give it to him.
If you're going to wait that long, yeah.
If you're just going to wait, and we can wait 3 innings, why can't we wait 11 years?
11
Why not?
years.
They gave him a Corvette. Is that suffice? They said, oh, he had such good sportsmanship. We're going to give him and Joyce this this candy red
They gave him a
Corvette.
Corvette.
They gave him a Corvette. I don't know if you saw that.
I
And they're
did
just
not.
like, wow. Well, great
what-
job, gentlemen.
Great people. That's
You
hilarious.
guys did an amazing job showing the children how you deal with adversity when things don't bounce your way. Well,
That is
if
so
you guys think it
silly.
was wrong, change the call. And then now we get to clap for somebody who made history. But they just, for whatever reason, they didn't mind changing history here. But it's like magic
Bruh.
when it comes to Galarraga. I didn't get it. And I want to get to these super chats.
Yeah.
I want to work to them in reverse order because one's on topic of what we're talking now and one's with Bellinger. So we'll do that. But Jonathan with the super with the 5, thank you. He says, Mia is both a Saints and Yankees fan. Jake, we've talked about this.
Yes.
I know all about being screwed by the refs. And I will say this. More times than not, when there's a huge conversation, a long drawn-out conversation about refereeing or any type of officiating, rig jobs, all this stuff, right? It's always in loss, okay? That goes for everybody.
Yeah.
We won 4-0. This game was never in question. Never. Not once, okay? The tightest the game got was Cruz on the mound at the end of the game, and it still really wasn't that close. So it just goes to show you, this game we just controlled. So we are literally picking apart these plays and this job of officiating for what it is, I feel. I feel that we actually have ground to stand on.
I agree. Sorry, Jonathan, because I'm sure seeing the Rams stuff in the background is probably a little painful.
Yeah, he's got PTSD.
And I mean, to be fair, it was absolutely a penalty, but I mean, it was. But
It was a bad call.
bad call. But no, like I get it because to your point, Gary, when your team loses, you're more inclined to be like, all right, what the hell, man? Like when they lose on something like that. But that's why I do think, like to your point, I do think we have ground to stand on. And does this come off as a little bit, I guess, petty? Like, why are you even, like, you won the game. Who cares? Maybe, but you know what I think is really underrated about baseball, Gary? Stats matter to people.
Totally agree.
I feel like you and I care about I would just say the integrity of the game. And what I mean by that is I think we care. We talk about it all the time. The first thing I thought of, and I told my dad this, is what if he's one home run away from the all-time record when it's all said and done? Think about it.
It ends up close. If you really think about Barry Bonds, as amazing of a career as he had, he ended up with, what was it, 762, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
762.
the difference between 4 or 5 homers, one here, one there.
It matters.
It
A-Rod
ends up
is
just
what,
adding
6 away, 5 away?
I think it's 4. It might be 4. I thought he ended up at 696,
no, he was
right?
696. You're right.
Yeah.
There you go. A-Rod is living proof. I 100% believe he could add 4 more home runs. 100%. No
Right.
doubt about it.
But who knows if I highly doubt he received 4 calls this egregious. But the point remains
true.
is that when they screw you on a hit here, right, a hit there, people used to say this all the time. They talk about the Yankees scorekeeping. They'd give Derek Jeter a hit, and Yankees in general hits all the time. Infield singles, right? They're infield single merchants. People can have that opinion. That's perfectly fine. It's their take. But it goes to show you baseball is all about history. It's all about just, okay, I can turn around someone's baseball card, see all the numbers, and then dictate what type of player was this guy long term. Well, taking away a ball that lands in fair territory over the wall and then being like, Stu Reich,
How did that happen?
you changed his numbers.
How did, and then of course, Gary, like you knew, I mean, of course, it is a strike, but like they couldn't give him it. You know, they couldn't give him the base after that. I'd feel awful. Like the umpire at home should be calling whether or not it's a home run because he would have seen that, not the third base guy.
What happened to superstar calls? I used to hear that all the time. All the time. Someone would say, oh, well, that call, it was an inch inside. They called it a ball. Why? Well, because the umpire knew that Barry Bonds knows the zone probably as much as he does. I go, okay, great. Well, Aaron Judge is undoubtedly the most historic hitter of the modern era right now.
Yeah.
And you mean to tell me that pitches below his knees, Steve Reich? We don't see it. We didn't understand it, right?
Yeah.
Balls hit in fair territory that are going out of the stadium. Foul ball. Replay. Foul ball. We don't understand it, okay? How is the best player in your sport getting calls like this? I don't get it. If you watch Michael Jordan go to the rim and he's going up for a layup and there's a ticky-tack call, 50-50 call, you think Michael Jordan's not going to the free throw line? Why wouldn't he?
Can you imagine if Aaron Judge actually got treated like Patrick Mahomes gets treated? He might walk every time.
What if he was treated like anybody else in the league? What if he just got calls like you would expect most of these players to get calls? Zone. He's 6'7". They're calling pitches at his shins. They're calling home runs foul. I get it.
I love how this just it coincides perfectly with how you just said it perfectly. Like just rolled right off the tongue. You're like, they're calling pitches at his shins. Now they're saying home runs are foul. It's amazing. It literally looks like it's an anti-Aaron Judge thing now. And like you can't even deny it at this point. It's ridiculous. We are turning home runs into foul balls. We are trying.
I can't even say it's anti-Aaron Judge because obviously it's implying, and you know this too. Yeah. It's not some conspiracy that they're working against Aaron Judge. It's just that to some degree, don't you sort of agree that the best players in the game, if there's a 50-50 call, you should just be like, you know what? Did we really give a rat's behind about the pitcher who gave up that homer? It definitely looks like a homer. I'm not sure, but we damn sure care about Aaron Judge. Home run. And we start jogging around the bases. That's my feeling. And I know it might be perceived as unfair. I get that. But I have the same perception if Rafael Devers hits a bomb down the right field line and some no-name Joe Schmo gave up a homer. If it was really close, you're not sure, I would just look in and be like, man, that was Devers' homer.
Yeah. Well, I think also, I mean, in a way, you know, the NBA playoffs are going on, and I kind of had this thought. I'm sure you've probably thought this as well before. When do those stars ever foul out? They commit 6 fouls a game, no doubt about it.
Of course.
But when do they foul out? And that's where it really comes down to. Like Naz Reid, yeah, you can go into foul trouble, right? Like Jared Vanderbilt, foul trouble. But you think they want to kick LeBron James, Luka Doncic, they want to kick Anthony Edwards, they want to kick out a Jason Tatum or Steph Curry? No. And so it's interesting how that happens there, but then Judge doesn't get that same behavior, like that same treatment at all. And you know, in the strike zone, and we've seen it even in the postseason where, you know, he's taken some good pitches and they're called strikes and it totally throws off his at bat. But yeah, taking away a home run that we all saw was a home run. I don't like this mental gymnastics. I don't like feeling like I'm in the damn Twilight Zone when I'm watching baseball, Gary. Make baseball great again. What the hell is this?
I would love to see it. Well, let's get to these supers. So Jordan Richard with the super. We appreciate the 2. Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah,
says
you,
Bellinger home run on 420 was perfect. I can't. It's so funny. That? What?
I think he's hit a home run in 3 straight 420s.
Has he really? What I do see, I love seeing the Instagram posts of him just looking higher than he looks like Bob Marley.
Dude, he does.
He looks high as a kite. I would assume he's not. I can't say for sure. This isn't the NBA. The guys in the NBA show up like literally incapacitated. This is baseball. You're at the field way too long. No way Cody's high at the field, but he looks high. That's just how he's looked. I've known him since we were in high school. I don't know if I've explained that on the show, but I literally went to high school with Cody Bellinger, okay? And he's looked exactly like that since I've known him. And he was at the Little League World Series. I think he looked normal then. But as soon as he got to high school,
high school just made him look high.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger, he's like Bob Marley Jr. out there.
His brain just turned to juice when he went to high school.
Yeah, and that was a bomb, by the way, that he hit today. And I love to see it.
We have to talk about that.
Yeah, because he's hitting a $179. So let's be clear, we need something out of this kid.
Did he hit that out of the park? I was just at George Steinbrenner Field in what? March? Yeah, March.
Not long ago.
Dude, I think he hit that out of the damn park.
We need to come up with some nickname for him, like something with Willie Nelson. Someone who just smokes just a pound of weed a day.
Oh, my God.
Willie Nelson's a really good one. Wiz Khalifa.
Cody Blunts.
Yeah, you guys get the concept. And like I told you before, he's not high during these games.
Belly Blunts. There we go.
Belly Blunts. Yeah, because he used to be called, I don't know if you knew this, but when he first got to the league, his nickname was Cody Pop.
Yes. And then when he hits a home run, we could say it was blunt force trauma.
Oh my God, you're canceled. You're done. Yeah. So Kyle with the well, he's been a member for 3 months in the comment says, watch Judge come one short of the home run record. And we won't dive back into this topic, but we will sort of touch on the comment. Thank you for commenting, Kyle. Yeah. To your point, Kyle, if he's going to break this record, it's sort of going to be like the Maris record he broke before, right? Barely. These records are set for a reason. They're just out of reach. And then somebody who has the ability to hit 390 with an ops of 1202, Jake, with bad calls, pitches below your knees are strikes, okay? Pitches outside off the corner. They're throwing sliders outside all day long, right? Great hitters are pitched this way. But most hitters in the league are not getting called this way. Most hitters in the league are not 6'7", 280. Most players in this league are not hitting home runs that are strikes. So to look up and see these numbers, to Kyle's point, you might look up and say, oh, wow, we're right in the final week, right? It's a Friday, season ends Sunday. Is he going to break the record or not? Well, this homer might screw you.
I think it will. I think if we're talking about a guy who has a chance at 70 home runs, he might be one short, you know? And
yep.
That's the thing. You only get 162 games. And he's not going to play every 162 games. He's going to get a day off. They are going to give him one. And who knows if he'll even be healthy all those games. So it really, that's the real frustrating thing. I can't stand the total screw job. I get it right, okay, but like the whole thing, like home run, the way I can describe it is it's like just mental gymnastics. I feel like I'm being gaslit by the MLB right now. No, you did not see the home run. It's like the Jedi mind trick. That was not a home run. Like, the hell am I watching? Like, honestly, in that moment, I cannot even believe that even happened. Like, I'm still in awe. It's been 27 minutes on the show, and we're still talking about the umpires in a 4-0 win. Like, that should never happen. But we're talking about them because, well, they were dog water today.
Yeah, they're butt. So I'm gonna read this super from Alex Reyes. Again, Alex, thank you with the 2. And then after that, right after, we need to talk about Max Fried because I want to talk about something positive because most of today was positive except for those 2 calls, and
absolutely,
that's fine. So Alex Reyes says, peep at Cody in the Little League World Series. He was baked even then. I guess so. I mean, he had some clutch hits back then too. So
your mom has a good name for him.
Oh, you thought that was good? Cody Bluntinger? It's okay. I've seen better work from my mom.
That's fair.
Boo mom.
Shout out to Alex, though. Appreciate that. And then Kyle with the super chat. It's not going to change anything. Just give him the home run. I agree.
Can that work, though? Because, like, you have to remember, technically Judge got out, I think. So,
oh, that's true.
So then how would you go in and say, okay,
you can't
record
score
it
that
out? Yeah, so if he hit a single, I just don't know because now it changes someone's ERA,
it
right?
changes someone's strikeouts.
It changes everything.
You're right. But then again, and this is actually what my dad said about that. We have, I think you know where I'm going with this. We have ghost runners. So we have guys scoring runs that didn't even earn their way on base.
Yeah, so why would they care? Hold on a second. Hold on. 2 days ago, Anthony Volpi, we were like, why wasn't he sent by the third base coach? He shouldn't even have been at second base anyways. We just put him over there. Stupid. Absolutely dumb.
They're
so,
like
yeah, come on now.
Yeah, that's actually kind of the point, and that's why I think people were so against it, including myself, the ghost runner thing, because guess what, Gary? Now, like, obviously it wasn't really comparable. There are different eras and everything. Now it's really not comparable at all. Because now you have people scoring runs that, like, aren't even, like, earning their way on base.
No, Volpi, for example, it's the last out
so
of the ninth
did
inning.
Something bad, and they're like, oh, we reward you by being able to score the game go-ahead run.
They're like, hey, you remember how you're hitting 213 with an ops of 729? Yeah, that is the reason you're going to be running in the 10th.
That's literally it. He was much better today.
Yeah,
so
I will say this.
Props.
I will say this though about Volpi, and then we're gonna transfer over to Fried. Anthony Volpi. When people say, okay, any player on this roster has been bad, okay, And then all of a sudden we show up to the field and they go 2 for 4, right? He made hard contact multiple times in this game. He had a couple breaking balls, which I still find it amazing, right? That was the game plan against this player. We don't understand how. But literally changeup and a slider he hit today. Makes no sense. But I will say this. Volpi, we don't doubt what he can do on any given day. He looked great today defensively. Spectacular. It's not about what you can do today. I think our podcast and our audience would agree. It's about what Volpi can do with a larger sample size. What does Volpi look like for 6 to 8 weeks? I'm tired of looking at this player and saying, oh, wow, he was special tonight. Yeah, that's his skill set. His skill set can present itself at any given moment. But you know what? These are all big leaguers. Cody Bellinger can do the same thing. Jason Dominguez, Cabrera. On any given Sunday, they can look like the player that you always hope them to be. But what we're hoping for with Volpi is that he's going to take the step forward where I just turn on a random game on a Monday night and he looks like some resemblance of the player we saw today almost every night. That's what you want. And I know he's not going to hit 500, but the point remains the at-bats need to be more consistent. And I think if he can do that, then we'll shower him with the praise then.
No, I think that's definitely fair. I wanted to mention that because people were like, you were too hard on Volpi. I don't think we were.
No, we
I
weren't.
don't. My dad mentioned that we might have been a little too hard on what's his face?
Who's that?
Devin Williams.
What did we say about Devin Williams specifically? What was our conclusion?
Well, I think he was saying like he's going to turn it around, and it was just more so we were really quick to blame him when, and I thought about this, and I mean, I think it makes sense to be fair, like the defensive issues, like they screwed him out of 2 outs. He should have had 2 outs, you know? So, I mean, at some point or another, it's like the same argument with Max Fried. He only made 2 guys swing and miss today. 2. But
I actually like that.
I do
happened.
too, because it
that.
allows him to go 7, 8 innings, right? His pitch count stays managed. But think about it, Gary. If he gets the defense that we saw in the bottom of the 9th, well, Max Fried is nowhere near getting a no-hitter. So I think that is the point here is that, yeah, I actually, when I went back and I evaluated it, I think we might have been a little hard on Devin Williams. Still, he absolutely didn't do his job. But it is a team game, and, you know, I think there were times where, yeah, we might have, especially myself, I think I might have thrown him too much under the bus when I think they all deserve the blame. Not equally, but I think they all deserve blame, and I think that's really what it comes down to. Because, you know, with him, he is going to miss bats, but when he does generate the contact, it's not like these guys are ripping 120 off the bat. And so there really wasn't an excuse for that throw by Cabrera and that, you know, Volpi not to charge a ball that was that softly hit. So
Sure.
So
but
yeah,
also in the same time today, Max Fried, so you wouldn't say his defense was stellar. Cabrera had 2 errors today, 2 throwing errors, okay, at third base. Now, I understand there's a huge difference, huge disparity between errors over the course of 7 2/3 of an inning, right? Spread out, we understand, versus all condensed into 1 inning. There's a huge difference there. There's more pressure. We get that. But my thing is this. Part of it is stuff, right? And that's sort of what I was talking about. We actually mentioned, not in that episode, but previous episodes, yeah, Devin Williams is going to be fine. If you just let him close for the entire season, you don't remove him from his role, he's not going to go Clay Holmes. I'm just telling you guys right now, it's not going to look like Clay Holmes. Why? Because Clay Holmes doesn't have as long of a history of being a solid pitcher in this league. He just doesn't. He wasn't very good in Pittsburgh when we got him, right? Williams, on the other hand, has been good, okay? The Yankees have talked about bringing him in before, and now they finally do in this exchange with Nestor Cortez. So I agree with you that it would be unfair to just say, well, the closer absolutely stinks, and not point the finger at anybody else's responsibility that inning. But I do feel like in that show, especially our audience, they really brought it up because they hated that defense.
Oh, yeah.
They hated that, and we noticed it. They have to make those plays, no question about
Absolutely.
it. But your closer also, if I felt a Luke Weaver gets out there, my feeling is that Luke Weaver can overcome some of these things.
I
and
agree.
so that's my feeling on it. So I agree with him. We were hard on him, but that's part of the gig, right? Sometimes when someone gets a certain job or a certain job title, people are going to put a lot of maybe unfair expectations on you, and you have to deliver anyway.
Yeah, and what he said about Volpi is like, yeah, it's year 3. Like, put a percent up. Like, what is this? Like, so he's
How many years of Volpi? They're going to be like, he's still young. He's like 32.
Yeah, they're going to do that thing. Well, he's 24. Okay, but if he's 24 and hasn't shown you any signs of getting better, then I don't really care how young he is. But to your point with Fried and talking about him, I noticed today, and then I looked at the actual breakdown on Savant, and it's clear as day the velocity was much better today. I think the climate really helped him. Obviously helped that fastball, which was up by 0.4% on the yearly average in velocity. His sinker was up. His changeup was up. And then, of course, he actually had a drop-off on that cutter. He took 2 miles per hour off his cutter that he normally has on average. So
interesting. That's wild.
It is wild when you really so you're going to see like 0.1, 0.2, and that's kind of a big deal. When you have a 2 mile per hour difference, that is saying something. So I think he had it today, like on another level. Like I think this is probably the best he's felt throwing the baseball. Spin rate was insane. Everything is way up on the spin rate. So
not surprising at all. I mean, he's been nasty. That curveball is disgusting. Actually, what did you feel about the inability to strike guys out? Because I don't perceive it that way. I'm assuming perhaps you don't either, especially when our infield defense is much improved this season. We got Goldschmidt at first base, right? Volpe's still at shortstop, still a very good shortstop in this league. We saw that today. And Cabrera made 2 errors, so there are people who think that can improve over at third. But in general, my takeaway, short and sweet here, when you look at Fried's career, he doesn't really pile up innings. He hasn't been that. That's the reason that this is not a $300 million pitcher. It's not stuff. It's not velocity. It's not any of that. It is, if you look at if you look at the stats, okay, he threw 185 innings, 185 and a third innings in 2022. He threw 77 in 2023, major injury, okay? The following season, last year, he threw 174 innings. So that's the most he had thrown was 2022. He had never compiled 200 innings. And a lot of us consider him an ace. Well, sometimes you look at a Garrett Cole and you say, part of what makes him so valuable is that we look up at the end of the season and he compiled us 200 innings. Max Fried has never done that. Max Fried has only thrown 916 innings in his entire career as a baseball player in the big leagues. So my feeling is if he's going to go out there and strike out 2 guys, that means a lot of baseballs are being put in play, Jake. And if your infield defense is better, your outfield defense, you lose Juan Soto, you bring in a Cody Bellinger, Jason Dominguez is widely improved out in left field. Yeah, you should be able to throw 102 pitches and get through 7 2/3, and it's exactly what he did today.
I agree, and we've said this too. When he was actually brought in, if they fix the defense, it's actually a benefit, right? You want your starting pitchers to go a long way. We've talked about this because strikeouts do not equate to great starts. Carlos Rodon has starts where he had 11 strikeouts and gave up 5 runs. Is that a great start because he had 11 strikeouts? No. And so that was actually a thing that we brought up about Carlos Rodon. He focuses so much to get that strikeout. He's trying to put it by the guy, and what you oftentimes have is a little bit of a battle. Well, when you get into 2, 3, sometimes 4 times where you have double-digit pitches in an at-bat, it's really putting you behind the pace, right?
Totally agree.
This is a league, whether you like it or not. It is not your father's league anymore where guys can pitch 130 pitches. Edwin Jackson can throw 150 in a no-hitter. No, this is a league where guys are coming out of no-hitters in the 7th inning because of their pitch count. Okay? That is what the league is. So pitch count matters now. They like whether you agree with it or not, they are going to take you out when you get around 100 pitches. And so the best way to maximize that is that having a guy like Max Fried who can generate soft contact, not too soft to the point where now you have to have guys just like hustling into the infield grass every time, but soft enough where you could actually make plays and throw guys out, because if it's too soft, then that guy's going to beat the run at first. But also, Gary, we've maintained this. Starting pitchers pitching to contact, good. Soft contact, good. Relief pitchers pitching to contact, bad. We do not like that.
That's why we like Cruz.
We like guys who come in and miss bats. I'll deal with the walks. I will deal with 2 walks if you're striking out 3 guys in a row afterwards. I don't give a rip.
Yeah, and that's part of what we like Luke Weaver so much for, right?
Yeah.
He's got the devastating changeup. That fastball is missing bats, 4-seamer high. He's trying to miss bats. But if Weaver, let's just say, was a starter, well, you're going to be hunting strikeouts against the 7, 8, 9. Well, now you're wasting 15, 20, 25 pitches, and you're not being as economical. And then what happens? Maybe your ERA is down, but now we got to turn around and throw it to Leiter Jr. when I'd rather have the ball in your hands. Okay,
exactly.
So that's really the job here. I understand you took the over because it's a really good starting pitcher. But again, we brought on Ari Epstein earlier this year, and she told us, do not take the over on Max Fried on strikeouts. And she is looking very smart right now. That is correct.
Yeah.
He's pitching to contact. It's a lot of sinkers. He's going away from the 4-seamer. The 4-seamer tends to have more ride, miss bats, guys swing underneath the ball. And then you throw the slider, curveball maybe off of that, the changeup off it going the other way. That stuff makes a lot of sense. But when you watch guys like really Fried who are going to throw you a sinker, they're trying to pitch to contact. You see someone like Devin Williams, he's not trying to miss a bat. He's trying to provide weak contact. And then you saw it yesterday. That weak contact ended up in poor defense and then obviously some soft contact hits, and it ends up in a 4-run blown save. So, yeah, if you can avoid contact at all costs out the bullpen, please do it. But for Max Fried, I have no problem. Jordan Richards, well, actually not Jordan Richard. I want to get to Kyle, then we'll jump it to Jordan. Says Fried almost pitched a no-hitter with only 2 strikeouts. Short and sweet. It's a beauty. It's a beautiful sight. Yeah, Kyle, thank you so much for that. And it is great to see pitchers not fall in love with the new style of play, because the new style is just huck it, right? And try to strike everybody. It's like the Robbie Ray experience, and I don't know if I like it. But let's transfer this conversation to Mr. Trent Bonds here.
Yes.
Because Jordan Richard, again,
Grish
with
Ham.
the super. Grish Ham. Says Trent Bonds, and Jake, I want you to actually start this off. Says Trent Bonds earned himself a leadoff spot, and I agreed. Jake, what do you think about this player? Because Trent Gisham has never played at this level. How sustainable do you think this is?
What I say is going to surprise people, but this is sustainable. He has changed his approach at the plate, and I think I do think so.
Okay.
Now, hitting 320, no. I think he's going to regress probably down to 250, 260, but we're talking about a bat that's like valuable on this team. I mean, I think he's always been a guy that you just need a random home run, and he could do that. But I do think Grisham is sustainable, and the reason I say that is because I always liked his game, and I think when they got him, you and I both had like comments about him. We're like, yeah, this isn't a bad player. I mean, you know, the money was a lot. It was kind of a throw-in, but this is somebody that I think Boone is right on. He's been around this player for a while, and you know, there are some times where, yeah, I disagree with Boone and don't always trust him on certain things. Like, I don't know how much better Anthony Volpi is than Oswald Peraza. I definitely don't know how much better Oswaldo Cabrera is if he's going to struggle defensively like that. But my feeling is that Grisham has this confidence instilled in him that I think he's only going to build off of, because you just had, for the first time in your career, you just were given the keys to lead off. You were given the keys to set the table for the best hitter in baseball. I mean, that's a story that you'll tell your kids. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. But here's the deal. He didn't just take that. It was like, oh, that's a nice day. And he did have 3 strikeouts. But he hit a home run. That set the tone. He hit a home run, the first at-bat of the game. That, to me, it just goes to show you, this guy, whether he's batting 9th, batting 1st, batting 6th, I don't give a rip. He just continues to produce. And we know he's going to continue to produce with the glove. So instead of, you know, like we're talking about Ben Rice and how we're going to get him involved, like when Stanton comes back, where's he going to play, all of that? Like, Grisham, just be happy he's on the roster. This isn't necessarily a guy like Ben Rice, because Rice is younger, a prospect, all of that. Like, I'm more inclined to find a way to get him to play every day. But Trent Gisham, if Cody Bellinger does not turn it around, and today he hit the home run, but if he doesn't turn it around, Grisham is going to turn that into pretty much a timeshare the rest of the year. I really do believe that.
Okay, so totally respect the opinion. My thing is this. I'm thrilled to see Trent Gisham doing this, because obviously it's always nice to see the dog get out in the sun a little bit. right? He's been struggling the last few years, at least offensively. Defensively, he's been fine, and that's really where I thought his potential could be, right? Defensive replacement in the 8th inning, key innings, where we need a guy to step up and make plays out in center field, essentially get Aaron Judge off his feet in center, get him out to the corners. Well, Trent Gisham in 2022 hit a $184. Okay, that is terrible, right?
Not good.
It's not good. 2023, he hit a $198. That is terrible. Okay, there's no remixing it. I don't care what your power numbers were. Okay, and by the way, his slugging in each of those seasons, 413 and 341. Okay, so he was bad. In 2023, well, actually, I already said that, $198. 2024, last year with the Yankees, hit a $190. Okay, slugging was 385. So essentially what you're saying here is he's going to hit between 180 and 200, right? His slugging is going to be about 350. It's not great. The last year where I said, you know what, that was a solid season from Trent Gisham, and obviously I've seen better, but league average was 2021 in San Diego. He hit 242. His slugging was 413. On base, 327. Sort of what you're looking for. Very good defense. He was obviously much younger. His ops was almost 750. So my feeling is this. If I'm looking at Trent Gisham and he's hitting 320, his on base is 400, do I think this is sustainable? No. Do I think he'll even be hitting 250 by the end of the year? Also no. But this is my feeling. There is incredible value to any player on the roster who can play at this level for even a weekend. This reminds me, honestly, of like a cruise line. You go on a summer cruise, on a carnival cruise, and you have a girlfriend for the 4 days that you're out there on a cruise. By the winter, you don't need this person. But I will say this. They're valuable while you're there, okay? That is Trent Gisham. He is incredibly valuable to what the Yankees are doing in terms of their business in April, okay? Giancarlo Stanton's going to be off the field with tennis elbow in both elbows. Well, how important now is Trent Gisham? Because Trent Gisham is not a great player. He's certainly serviceable, but without his presence, now you're looking down the depth chart and saying, well, who else are we going to put in center field, right? That's what you're saying. So my feeling on him, this is short-lived, but it's great that it's happening. I'm just thankful that it's happening, and I understand, like, I feel like I'm just having fun calling him, and we know that he's not Barry Bonds, but I'm just saying right now, he's just sort of this anomaly. He's like the 8-hitter on your team who just plays like the best hitter on the team for 2 weekends, and you just clap extra loud for him because this doesn't normally happen. And then all of a sudden, like a month later, you come back and you're like, yeah, what happened to that kid? They're like, oh, he went back to being who he was. Oh, okay. That's what I think this is.
I could see that, definitely. I do think that Yankee season last year, there's a lot of truth to what Bonds. A lot of truth to what Boone said. Damn it. I'm seeing Bonds all over the place. A lot of truth to what Boone said. You know, he couldn't get into any rhythm. I'm not going to sit here and talk out of both sides of my mouth. I can't sit here and say Oswaldo Cabrera, you know, I'm going to complain that he can't get into a rhythm because he plays once a week, but then I'm going to hold it against Trent Gisham when he plays once every 2 weeks, and he's bad. So I think it's very simple, Gary. He's had an opportunity to play in 20 of the 22 games that they've played so far, and he's delivered 6 home runs. He has a 320 batting average, over 1,000 OPS. The way I see it is this. I think Trent Gisham has power. He's always displayed at least some semblance of that. Now, Petco Park isn't exactly the hitter's park Yankee Stadium is. So if he were to play, say, 132 games, he hit 15 home runs playing in San Diego, I'd say Petco Park is probably a little bit more of a pitcher's park than Yankee Stadium. So I think figuring that he's due for at least 20 home runs if he plays at least 130 games. He has 6 right now, so I think that's definitely fair to say. As far as the RBIs, I think it really depends on where he is in the lineup. Obviously, he won't get as many as a leadoff hitter. But I think when you look at Trent Gisham, this is a guy that has shown in the past 251, 242. He can be that guy above 230 and, you know, hit around 240, 250. And if he does that, that is miles better than anything the Yankees are going to find on this bench that can play outfield defensively and all of that. But if I'm wrong in a different way and he continues hitting in the 300s, the Yankees have a shot to win the World Series because you don't even factor this guy in during the season. I'll be honest with you, Gary, forgot he was on the team back in February. Like, he's on the team, but you're not like, yeah, Trent Gisham. Like, you know what I mean? So, honestly, rooting for him. I like these kind of unsung heroes. In a way, he just screams Matt Carpenter to me. And whether people want to admit it or not, I don't think Matt Carpenter was going to continue to do what he did before the injury if he didn't get hurt in the postseason. I just don't think that was realistic. He was on a Babe Ruth level run like that. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. But that said, like, we have seen these type of guys work in a different way. He's 28, Gary. He's not exactly old, right?
He's 28?
He's 28. He is no. Understand, he's newly 28. He's been in the league since 2019, so people think he's older than dirt. But no, this is a guy that he's 28 years old and he turns 29. All right, Gary, I'm older than Trent Gisham.
Trent Gisham is younger than me? Oh my God. Oh my God. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Wow.
Yeah, he's 28. He turns 29 in November. So this whole year, he's 28, Gary. He just
I'm 32. Oh, I'm 32. I'm 32 in November. Wow. Okay, so the poor Mariners. Remember how like Justin Turner was criticizing like the Mariners? They're not spending money.
He was 37.
Yeah. I thought this dude was like, I swear to you, I thought he was 35. I swear to you. I'm not even trying to be funny. This is not like comedic timing, nothing. I thought he was like anywhere from 32 to 35. And he was like a vet presence. I'll go catch balls out in center.
Presence. But yes.
Oh, absolutely.
This is why I'm trying to like condition people, because if he is here to stay, he's going to be around in New York. Like, he might end up being one of their outfielders next year. Like, they're going to sign him if he keeps this up. Now,
no, but what I was going to say, though, Seattle's like a team that never wants to spend money, and then all of a sudden they're going to like, oh, Trent Gisham has a career year with the Yankees.
You're so right.
And they're going to bring him in. They're going to bring him in on like a 4-year deal and be like, oh, yeah, he'll be
$75 million.
Yeah, they'll give him the Aaron Hicks contract.
Oh,
wow.
My God.
That's crazy. Somebody's going to do that. Now, if he comes back as a Yankee, like I said before, he has value in what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be. It's going to be
you've
defensive
always
replacement.
Defended him too. Like, you've always defended him as a defender. Funny. And I've always been critical of him. But I'm here telling you. Yeah, defend the defender. But I'm telling you. By the way, this guy had 9 home runs last year in 76 games. He had 9. He's got 6 in 20.
Yeah, I do hate that, though, when people are like, oh, if they played, it's like, no, it technically is way easier on your body. Like, I understand, like, you can get hot by playing 150 games, but that can also work against you. Anthony Volpi, people have been complaining. I don't know if you guys have seen this. They've been complaining that he plays too much. He doesn't get any days off, right? And that was Boone saying, we want his glove out there. And you can't just say, well, somebody hit homers. They played 40 games, they hit 5 homers. If they just played the whole season, you just multiply. It's like, nah. I don't think that works that way. So Trent Gisham right now, he is Barry Bonds. He's an all-star given what he's doing right now, and we just take it for what it is. But yeah, and I see Alex Reyes super. He says Max Fried could be the key to unlock Rodon. No, I don't think anything is going to unlock Rodon. I think what's going to unlock Rodon is us regressing our expectations and understand he is a highly talented 3-starter in the baseball, and that is perfectly okay. Probably not when you spend $180 million, Jake, but we just need to lower our expectations and just understand he's going to blow up every 3 starts, right? Maybe every other start, it's not going to be what you want, but maybe he'll time a quality start when no one thinks it's coming, and it'll be to the Yankees' help.
So I want to wrap with something I kind of touched on. I'm glad we talked about Gisham. We talked about everything I wanted to, except for this one thing. We kind of glossed over it a little bit.
What's up?
And I like this comment. Yankees legends, I don't want Cabrera at third base in a playoff game. I agree. where is he has regressed as a defender. He made that one play, which albeit that double play yesterday was insane, but they don't lose that game, in my opinion, if he doesn't toss it in the stands before that. And he had 2 errors today. I don't get it. And to me at this point, is he a better bat than Peraza? I think he's getting more opportunity to be a better bat than Peraza, but I don't know that for sure. I would say, yeah, he's probably better than Peraza as of right now. But to me, that glove, Gary, and I told you, a lot of people have even vouched for me in the comment section, Peraza had a very good camp, was really, really good in spring training defensively, has made some key plays. He had that huge play near the end of the game when Jazz got thrown out and he was playing second. This guy's got range. He's got a stronger arm, in my opinion. I think they got to put Peraza at third if this is going to continue. I just don't. You're not getting crazy offensive production from Cabrera. Like, he's hitting 289. That's great. He's a 728 OPS. He doesn't slug. He hits singles, and he's making errors like crazy, Gary. So, I mean, in a way, that's kind of a net negative, I would say.
To me, it just seems like Cabrera, it seems like the guys were sort of tossing around at third base, and I've heard, DJ LeMahieu is approaching a rehab assignment. Like, he's working his way back. It seems like the Yankees are just trying to figure out who can give them league average at third base. That's personally what I see. I don't really see them trying to attempt to find something long lasting. It just seems like we're just stamping a Band-Aid over the top of it.
I don't like that.
And then it doesn't feel rewarding. I don't want to be too nitpicky here. I mentioned earlier that I like the at-bats that Cabrera has taken in the past, and I would like him to play more. But at the same time, when your glove is really just mucking up the water long term, yeah, that could be a problem. And what we've seen defensively from Peraza, is his bat possibly that much worse than Cabrera, given the opportunity? I just don't know. I don't know. I'm willing to see. So, yeah, I'm willing to see it. And Kyle with the super, thank you again, Kyle, says prediction Max Fried wins Cy Young this year. The American League is pretty weak this year. It is pretty weak. So I wouldn't rule it out. I just don't know if he's going to get the strikeout numbers that voters are usually looking for, because you're looking for 240 Ks, right? You're looking for 16 to 20 wins. The wins can be there, but do you look up and say that he's one of the most wipeout arms in the game? I just don't know. I trust him as being one of the best arms. It's just that, are the stats going to be behind that to justify it? I don't see it, but I would love to.
Yeah, I will just tell you right now, he's not winning the Cy Young, unfortunately, Kyle. And the reason being is, like Gary just said, you have to have strikeouts. They care about wins. They care about strikeouts. I think Fried will have the wins. It feels like every time he gets on the mound, he's going to win the game. But, yeah, ERA doesn't seem to really matter to these people. They only care about the big Ks. If you get a lot of Ks, you got a shot. I feel like that's the tiebreaker, whether that's fair or not. It's always one thing or the other, right? It's either wins or Ks. So maybe if he has enough wins and has a really good ERA and WHIP, okay. But yeah, they've really. I'll tell you right now, my dark horse to win it, although he's probably the favorite in a lot of people's minds, is Garrett Crochet. I think he would probably be my favorite to win it.
That's who I picked. Wow.
Yeah, I think he's gonna win it because he got out of Chicago and he is relishing on that. You know, he almost no-hit his former team not long after being traded away from his former team. He had a no-hitter going into like the 8th inning against Chicago. I don't know how many people have done that, but that was crazy.
Well, not many people have played for a team as bad as Chicago.
That's
and
true.
Somehow, some way, they can not stop beating the Boston Red Sox, who, by the way, that's a team that we all said was going to be, and mind you, that this can change on its head in no time.
Around. I have no doubt.
Certainly, it's a long season, but Chicago just has Boston's number right now. They beat them already like 3 times this year. 4.
So 2 things I want to talk about real quick. I had it up, and we moved on to another thing. But Cabrera, by the way, has 4 errors this season, right? He had 6 in 74 games and 62 starts last year. And this year, he in 15 starts, he has 4 errors. Is that not concerning?
Yep. Yes, it is. And my mom had a comment, 2 errors at third base today, right? Ben Rice shot at third base. This is sort of the comment that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Is how bad can the experiment be? You guys obviously don't look very good defensively at third base. And right now, so you're telling me, well, Cabrera's bat is just better. Okay, you can have that opinion. And mind you, I like Cabrera's bat too. You mentioned Jake doesn't have a ton of pop. Well, you know who does have pop? Ben Rice. So maybe he can't play third base. But this is also why a lot of people in our chat were like, what about Arenado? What about kicking the tires on that? What about bringing somebody else in? What about Lombard Jr., right? So the Yankees do need to figure out third base. And I don't want to be going into the 2026 season still saying, oh, are we going to figure out which one of our young players wants to win this position? I want to go into the year saying, he's my third baseman, and then we can look elsewhere. Because right now it's just sort of, it's like this musical chairs game of third.
Yeah, I think Ben Rice is probably the future at first base post Goldschmidt. So I agree with that, Yankees legends, in the comment section. But the reality is you're going to get into a point where it's like, okay, you can either play him or Stanton. Like that's why we continue to talk about that. The second thing I wanted to bring up, the Yankees' rival Orioles got absolutely slaughtered today. Did you see that? 24-2.
Mm-hmm.
My God.
At home.
The Bengals scored 24 points on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. They had a safety.
Yeah,
straight football.
I don't even know how it's possible.
That's not even a football score. Who the hell's that would be a scoregami if you know what that is.
It was obviously an embarrassing performance.
I don't know.
And wild to do that on Easter.
I feel bad. Yeah, that's awful. I felt bad feeling this way, but I was kind of happy to see Cody Poteet get shredded because I have nothing against him, but just the fact that like the Orioles picked him up was like, that's what you get.
I saw the tweet. There was a tweet that someone sent, and as soon as I read it, I was like, oh man, that's how it's going. So the tweet literally read this. It was something very short and simple. It said, at this point, you just got to pray that you can just leave Cody Poteet in and he can just eat some innings. That was what the tweet was. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my God, it must be horrible. And I looked up and it was 24-2.
Jorge Mateo and is that Gary? Gary Sanchez pitched today.
Yeah.
2 position players pitched today. Jorge Mateo gave up 5 runs. Gary Sanchez gave up 4. So here are the ERAs. This is insane. I've never seen anything like this. So I'm going to screenshot this and probably put this up there because it's that insane. But anyway, all right. Here are the pitchers. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
So Charlie Morton, 10.89 ERA. Mind you, he started other games. That's insane.
So he's doing Devin Williams work, but starting.
Cody Poteet, 16.88.
We were saying, hey, Gary, what do you think about bringing him on the roster? I was like, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I would mind it now.
Sionel Perez, whoever that is, 11.32. Jorge Mateo, 45. And Gary Sanchez, 36. Have you ever seen 5 straight double-digit ERAs in a game? No. That's insanity. I just totally screenshotted it for safekeeping because that was... You'll never see anything like it. It's so bizarre. I'm going to try and bring it up. Let's see if I could do it. I saved the... It's so bad.
Geez, their ERAs look like my groceries. Yeah, everything's $15, 50 bucks.
I was gonna say, why does
$35 bucks?
Why does it look like a damn receipt, bro?
Yeah, I bought a dozen eggs. They're like, that'll be $16.88, sir.
Dude,
couple things of zucchini, $45.
Oh wow. My God, how'd they even get through this game? All right, when does a mercy rule take place? I thought there was a mercy rule at some point. Wasn't there a mercy rule?
Dude, Jorge Mateo threw 35 pitches.
Dude, that's what I mean. And oh my God, was he sitting up there like?
Oh, well, first off, it's such a sign of disrespect if you pitch and you're a position player. If you're the position player who pitches, it is just like so demoralizing. I mean, imagine doing that. It's okay if you're like Albert Pujols, you're going to go into the Hall of Fame, and they're like, let's do this for fun. But when you're Jorge Mateo, you're Gary Sanchez. Like, Gary Sanchez was supposed to be a franchise player for the Yankees. If you asked him 8 years ago, what do you think you're going to be? He'd be like, oh, I'm a Yankee. What do you mean? He would have never imagined that he'd be pitching. He'd be closing for the Baltimore Orioles, throwing 19 pitches with an ERA of 36 and not really having any offensive role. It's sad.
There is no mercy rule. That's right. It's just if it was like raining. If it's bad weather, it's 8 runs. That's the mercy rule.
Yeah,
bad weather,
that's
8
fair.
runs. Yeah,
Yes.
I think it is too. But
Yeah, so tomorrow we do face Cleveland. No day off again, which I'm glad. I hate days off when you're winning games. And especially Jake, when you're scoring runs, okay? We got a homer from Cody Bellinger. I want Bellinger right back in the lineup tomorrow against Gavin Williams. I want to see Jason Dominguez out there, right? I need some dudes to step up. Austin Wells had some great swings today, going the other way multiple times. Sometimes they were hits, sometimes they were homers, sometimes they were nothing. It was just a line out, but the approach was correct. It popped off the screen today. I want to see that again tomorrow against Gavin Williams. The Yankees do have some success against him. He's been giving up some contact this year. I think the Yankees, we should be able to win tomorrow. So I don't know who we're throwing, so I shouldn't
Clark
say
Schmidt?
that. Oh, so we should be able to win tomorrow.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. No, I feel good about Clark Schmidt.
Yeah.
Gavin Williams isn't off to a great start. This Cleveland team, I swear, the Yankees play Cleveland like every April, right around this time. Remember last year when we were talking about, we did that video and like the Cleveland fans got mad because we were talking about trading for Clase.
Well, they'd probably want to trade him to us now.
Yeah. The 103-mile-an-hour one that Volpi hit, we were like, see, this is it. Volpi is gonna be him. Like and then after that, he didn't do anything. Like
It's the last fastball he's hit.
Yeah. So the Yankees,
Vol.
by the way, 14-8 in their 22 games. Are you curious where they were last year at this point?
I'm gonna guess they were 15-7.
So I said 14-8.
Yep.
They were 15-7.
Okay.
They had just beaten Tampa 5-4. Oh yeah, and then they had that dreaded Oakland series. Right
Oh, the
around
one I
draft
covered?
time. Yeah.
It was pretty bad. It was like
Dude.
Clay Holmes blowing it.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was such bad baseball, but we're just diehards. As you guys can tell, I knew the record to a T of where we were. We watch way too much baseball. That's what happens when you guys host a Yankee show every single day. Because I'll tell you this, not to toot our own horn, but there are not many other Yankee shows that are going to do 162 shows plus
And
interviews.
more. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so we are ride or dies. Some people have told us, oh, just go once a week. It feels better when you're gone. We'll miss you. I was like, nah, that's okay. You can run a podcast yourself and do it that way, and then I'll go listen to you. But no, I just think in general, we love this team. And given what's going to go on tomorrow, the matchups, I love the idea of Clark Schmidt coming back to the mound off that first start. He has a lot to build off of. I liked a lot of what he did in that debut start. So I'm assuming Schmidt is going to, at the very least, have his command in game 2, and it's going to be somewhat more in the direction of what he wants. I know he wasn't thrilled about it, but it goes to show you what his expectations are of himself, and they're high. I love that about a player. Yankees should be able to go get a win. Let's do it.
Yeah. It's gonna be a good one. You know, the Guardians are one of the better teams the Yankees have faced this year, so we'll see how things go. The Yankees are the top team in the AL still, so that's something to keep in mind there. But I guess we need a movie. You said Sinners.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna do a movie. I'm gonna do
An anime.
No, it wasn't. All right, let me change that. No. How about just we probably already said this, but I'll tell you right now. I got a lot of work to do tonight, but I am going to watch this new episode of not The Walking Dead. The Last of Us. So other zombie thing. So definitely check out The Last of Us on HBO. Unpaid advertising there. Have you seen it, Gary?
Yeah, The Last of Us, they don't know who we are at all. So they're not going to pay us.
They don't know. But yeah, definitely check out The Last of Us, Gary. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's I like it more than the game. And I liked the game. But I
started it.
You started the show?
Yeah, I started. I got like 4 episodes in, and then I had a
Life
baby,
happened.
and now you just have no time to do anything. So, you know how it is.
Yeah, that's a pretty real thing, I would say. Look, I'm not in that position yet, so yeah. But if you made it to this point in the video or the live stream, depending, if you're in the live stream currently, wait until we finish and drop in the comment section because it's kind of a cheat code, helps out the algorithm, pushes us out. Drop The Last of Us. And if you are watching after the fact, also drop The Last of Us in the comment section. But yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, and mainly like this video.